Hi, welcome to my video. I'm going to discuss my research proposal and my topic is corporate fraud. This is a broad topic, but I will constrain it into introduction that will include definitions and examples of corporate fraud, and then I'm going to discuss executive compensation that includes some definitions, relevance from corporate fraud, introduction, and then later on I'll be discussing my literature themes and then contextualizing them, research strategies, data collections, and my limitations to those strategies. I can't go on without this quote by Benjamin Franklin. Great haste make great waste. Millions of likes for this quote. Now let's move forward. Corporate fraud. When we are out of PE school, we will learn how to manage, but can we learn how to manage our greed? Even lessons on ethics can't let us know how can we control our greed to some extent. The fraud thing starts from greed. Activities undertaken by an individual or company in an illegal manner and designed to give advantage to other person or company will lead us towards fraud. We have thousands of definitions of corporate fraud, which includes money laundering, bribery, extortions, and insider trading. And here we're talking about financial crimes. Now can you see this figure? It's around 20 billion per annum. Worth researching for preventing them. Now we move forward and we'll discuss executive compensation. That is the root of corporate fraud, because you'll see in past many frauds were committed by executives. You'll find in Lehman Brothers case, Richard compensated himself around $500 billion, and they are the main cause for these kind of fraud. Executives at fraud firm face greater incentive to commit fraud than to executive at mid-sized control firm. I can also discuss this thing that executive of fraud firms face significantly greater potential payoffs from share price increase compared to executive at matched innocent firms. Like they are 50% hike. You'll find 50% hike in their compensation, and we can discuss some cases like Barr and Gill and Babchuk's 2003 and 2003B. Moving forward, preventing, that's the main part of my research. Prevention needs leadership, governance, that we can prevent through some effective control environments, separation of duties. These measures can be done into organization, and when the most important part of preventing is external audit. When we discuss of preventing it, we've got many softwares like Oracle has developed a software which compliance on AML like money laundering and fraud preventions. And you will find many laws which are helpful in detecting fraud in softwares, in accounting packages software, which lead towards forging accounts. My research topic is, does greed lead towards corporate fraud? Corporate greed is not always fraud, because when Ryanair charges more in Christmas is not fraud. This greed will always lead to profitable business. But greed will cost the general public. When greed is done in healthy, profitable way, then it's good. But when this greed leads towards making fraud, is not good for society, for organization. I can discuss some data analysis which can be done for preventing fraud. Like we have a law, Benford law. Benford law is really helpful in analyzing possible fraud data. In accounting packages like Caseware, this law is used for detecting fraud. We have, this is like a probability law. Number 1 have probability of 30%. Sorry if I'm not drawing it right. And number 9, probability of number 9 is less than 5%. So these kind of law are really helpful for detecting frauds. Fraud triangle will be helpful for me for researching how they prevent fraud. We have many fraud triangles. One of the most discussed is Casey's work and is worth looking for. These kind of fraud work will help me examine fraud cases, like how frauds are done. They are done in pressure and opportunity. So these kind of triangles describe them really well. And moving forward, types of fraud. We have different kind of frauds, but I have categorized them in A, B and C. Category A, by an employee against employer, and most important and most discussed is category C, systematic fraud where society, organization is corrupted. Moving forward, I can research on many cases occurred in past, and the most obvious case is Enron. Enron cost more than $52 billion. Enron cost around 72 billion. Sorry for the figure, it was around $72 billion. And this fraud was planned, like announcement that there was a critical circumstances within California with regard to the supply of natural gas. These kind of cases are pre-planned, and I will discuss this kind of cases which will be helpful for me to research on. Now moving forward, we have different cases, like in India we have Satyam scandal and Lehman Brothers. When we look at Lehman Brothers, it was like an executive and auditors involved in it. They hid around $50 billion in loan disguised as sales, that is repo transaction 105, in which they take loan instead of their mortgaging their assets, but they didn't show their loan as loan, they showed it as sale, and hiding fact is crime. they were paying themselves more, their executives were paying themselves more by hiding these loans. Satyam case in India falsely boosted around 1.5 billion revenue. In Auto Care Corporation fraud, this was a channel stuffing fraud. Channel stuffing is you get your distributors to buy more products than they really need, or so companies' sales and revenue appears to be greater than actually they are, creating it only on papers. And the stock prices climbed, even they lied to investors and analysts about this. Now, white collar crimes, we know all these things. Financially based crimes, they are like more financially based crimes. Activities typically undertaken within a setting in which a participant retained advanced education with regard to employment that is considered to be prestigious. My research strategy will be more reading books to learn more about corporate frauds, journals, identifying 3 journal types of qualitative studies, and then I'll be going through debate of Edmund Sutherland and Paul Chapman about white collar crime, meeting and have an interview with chartered accountants about forensic accountancy. That will be really helpful in finding financial statements, working with auditors, find some real cases, investigating fraud cases already occurred in Enron, questioning fraudsters, and working with chartered accountancy firms. That will be really helpful for me. Collection of data, I can collect data from there, and collecting real data from the cases already occurred, data from auditors, forensic accountants, and surveys will help me in true estimation of cost of fraud to business and society, and I'll build a questionnaire for them. My research limitations will be personal responses, they can vary. Responses on corporate fraud cannot be accurate. Figures may vary. That very obvious. Finding may be difficult to ascertain the full extent of fraud. So this is the end of my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Please leave your comments.